Welcome from the Garden Center. This is Dr. Eve. I hope you all are doing well. I wanted to come on really quickly to talk a little bit about what is happening in the world and how you can prepare as an individual for yourself and your family and your community to begin thinking about what does sustainability look like when help is not on the way. Um, all of us have witnessed, all of us have witnessed, at least here in the U.S. and those abroad probably paying attention to what's happening here in the U.S. have witnessed what has happened with Hurricane Helen, literally consumed entire communities, and oh, what a beautiful red robin, has consumed communities and left them completely devastated with no roads in, no way out, no way in, flooded homes to rooftops, just completely leveled or completely devastated an entire city, states, just I'm so humbled just to even be alive in this moment. And so I wanted to just come and talk about the importance of preparing ourselves for sustainability, even when help is not on the way. What we know is critically important for all of us is that we have food, water, energy, and shelter to be able to sustain economically, right? That is basic essentials, basic needs. And so God has been preparing me a long time to share my messages with all of you and how I do that work, right? I think that in the industry of community health education and health and human services, and as a facilitator of community support, it's critically important that number one, you be able to model what you expect out of other people. And if when you model what is expected out of other people, then they can at least see what's possible, right? And so today I am sharing some of the techniques that I use because number one, if food is high, then we must start growing food. If energy is going to be a problem, which it is, like what we see in towns with no electricity right now, what are some of the alternatives? How are we preparing to have maybe even solar energy as an option? If water is a problem, how can we filter? Can we catch water? How can you prepare so that you can survive, right? Because that is critical. Because guess what? We're going to get much of the same. This is not over, right? And so we don't want our heads in the sand about what's happening right now. Many people think, oh, it's going to be a great revival, but baby, there will be great devastation before there is a revival. So we must begin to talk about what is possible. And so what I am in here doing today, I have expanded my garden, and my garden is absolutely beautiful, and I am putting in the infrastructure for us to be able to eat off the land, to prepare a homestead, to grow vegetables, to raise chickens and livestock, to plant plants, and to harvest seeds, right? Because we know that everything's genetically modified, right? So I want to be the person who is showing, actually really doing the work, because when we are out here, we not only have to do the work, but we have to show the work. And another area that's critically important is shelter. How in the world are people surviving without shelter? Well, we know that a lot of homes got devastated, but at any given moment, I got a tent in my car and I have my car prepared to get on the road to go to be able to survive wherever I can in a moment's notice. And so I know that many people have been frowning down upon those who are preparing to go, preparing to do the work. But baby, to be prepared is to be ready so you don't have to get ready. And so today I'm going to introduce to you those of you who say, you can't grow food. I am an urban grower. I literally live in a city down the street from a convention center. And I have turned my little space into a homestead. Why? Because I knew this was happening. I know I can't rely on systems that I see being shaken to be able to feed me. And so that meant even altering my taste buds, learning how to eat raw food, learning how to eat more vegetables and more fruits, learning how to put, trees in the yard. Like, if something were to happen to me, I want my children and grandchildren for years to come to be able to come here to this home, if it's still standing, and I believe it will be because I'm covered under the blood of Jesus Christ. Then I want them to be able to pick the fruit. I want them to be able to have perennial foods that are continuing to grow in the yard. I want them to know every herbal method that they can use as an antibiotic to be able to take care of their bodies, right? Because why? Big farm is big farm, but they got their medicine from somewhere. Where did they get it from? They got it from the vegetables. They got it from the herbs. So some of the herbs that I have here today, I'm going to share with you because I am putting them in bags. And that is what I want to teach you all to begin doing. That even if you don't have dirt, even if you have clay dirt, you can modify that dirt in a way, or you can grow in these grow bags so that you can begin to grow food and learn what that process looks like, right? So I bought a 12 pack, this is my new garden center. I turned a part of my home into one of my rooms into a garden space where I can actually, outside of the home, where I can actually grow food inside in case something happened outside, because we don't never know. You might not even be able to grow out there. So you need to be able to grow inside, right? So no matter what, you have to be able to use some alternative solutions, and that's what we're going to do today. So the first thing I do I'm going to introduce you to some herbs that everybody should have in their home, and one is cilantro is good to plant at this time. Another one I'm planting is going to be sage because it's really good as a tea, and many people don't know that. Basil, spearmint is another great herb to have. Chives grows in abundance. It's a very good herb to have in your home or outside. Another one is, and one of my absolute favorite is lavender. I have an entire front yard of lavender. Literally one plant grew so big in 1 year that I was able to jar 5 jars of lavender from one plant. And let me tell you, it's a beautiful thing when you can have your own medicine. Another one is basil, right? Basil will last up until the frost. After the frost hits it, it will be no good. But you want to make sure you catch it before the frost. This lavender is cold tolerant. It will go through the frost. And it's going to stay green like an evergreen bush the entire time, right? Cilantro does not like heat, so this is a good time to plant it. Sage is also a cold tolerant plant. You want to take care of. Chives is as well. And spearmint this time of the year, y'all, is an invasive plant, so it will take over. So believe it or not, some of your nurseries are just getting, good herbs, your October herbs out. So these are some things you should be planting right now. I literally picked these up from my local nursery. Although I have a bunch of seeds. I have a bunch of seeds that I'm also going to be planting up today in these little containers right here, right, with some of the little super grow pellets. There's so much you can do, but we must work hastily towards preparing ourselves and doing the work so that we can survive when there's no help on the way, right? That's the biggest thing that I've seen, even in the Hurricane Helene. You know, with when you have roads, and I've been in a hurricane before, Hurricane Floyd, the 100-year flood, where my home was absolutely destroyed. So what no one's ever going to tell me is how to prepare anymore, because it was an experience that I never want to go through again. It was devastating. It was devastating for my community. It was devastating for churches and neighborhoods and families, and everyone was displaced. And in the middle of that, when you are chosen to be the one to go from devastation to development, is the hardest thing, while you are in the middle of devastation yourself. That is how God deals with many of us. And so what I'm going to do is show you how to get started in planting one of these plants. And so I'm going to start with basil, because I have a bunch of those, and I love basil and basil seeds. I love it for food. I love it even for, y'all think you can't drink this stuff. This stuff is so good for so many things. And so what you want to do is start with one of these bags, right? Get you an order of bags. These were like a 12 pack for like maybe $7. This is a hefty, very, very hefty material. You can see it's very, very sturdy. And this is a 5-gallon bag. Why did I choose a 5-gallon bag? Because these plants will remain in this 5-gallon, and they will grow, and they will grow abundantly. So we're going to put that to the back. And the one thing I want to do is I've given it some base soil, right? And then I'm going to add, because I know that you have to have a good mixture of soil to for your things to grow. And so one of the things that I do like to give my when I'm transferring a plant is I like to, number one, give it some seed starting soil, right? Even though this is natural organic seed starting, I already have soil in this bag, but the soil that's in the bag also has a little barky. It's a little barky. So I'm going to add some seed starting soil just to make the soil a little more flexible for growing, right? So I'm going to add a little more seed starting soil in there. And yeah, just put that back on my shelf. So I buy plenty of products so that I have them on the shelf. Another thing I'm going to add is some vitamin C to this, and that's some bone meal, or natural source of nitrogen. And I am using some organic bone meal, and I'm just going to add just a little bit of that. It's good for bulbs, vegetables, and flowering plants. It's calcium, right? Usually I use eggs, like my eggshells. I'll save that for planting as well, so I'll use that. And then I'm also going to add some worm castings, because you know when the worms get busy, they produce some good eco-friendly growth essentials, right? And the worm castings are always good for your soil. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. And then I'm going to add a little more, a little more of this organic starting. And then I'm going to mix it up, right? I'm going to mix it up, turn it so that these plants are ready. And then I'm going to place this bag in my yard right next to one of my garden beds, because my goal is to have a very dense garden next year. So the one thing I want to do is do some in bags, garden in bags as well. But most importantly, my purpose for growing and showing you all, and I'm going to mix all this up, right? I'm going to mix all of this up really, really good, right? I'm going to mix it up real good. And another thing about herbs is it keeps the bugs off of your plants. Now, basil is really a super good plant for that, if you put it right next to some of your like brassicas, your broccoli and your cabbage and things like that, it will keep, if you put, you know, those basil next to those plants, it will keep the bugs away, right? So then you want to, you just take it out the bag, and I'm going to put 4 of these in this bag because remember, this is like a bed. This big bag is this is a 5-gallon grow bag, which means that it can hold a lot. And besides, this particular plant is deep rooted, so it has some deep roots. Matter of fact, I'm just going to add some more soil because this bag is really deep. So I'm going to add some more soil to that. And again, I'm going to mix it up real good. So I have some good nutrients down in that bag because I'm putting 4 plants in here. All right, so then you want to just loosen your dirt just a little bit. Like this is not compacted, so you can see that it's really loose. And you just go ahead and make you some space and put it on in there. All right. I'm going to put 4 of these together. Now they're going to grow to be gigantic. And that's exactly what I want because I know I want density. I want density in my garden this year. And I want the smell of these beautiful. And you know the other good thing about bags, you guys, is you can move these around. You know, like remember I said that basil is not cold tolerant. So if the frost hits it, it's going to die. So because I'm putting it in a bag, guess what I can do with it? I can move it to an area where it won't experience the frost. I can move it into the greenhouse area, right? So there are a lot of good reasons to plant in these bags. And so now I'm going to press that down a little bit. I didn't bring water in here. I probably should have brought some water into one of my little tanks, but I'm going to water this outside. But I just wanted to come and I want you to see the beauty. You see the beauty of that? Just this one bag is holding 4 plants. And I'm going to come back at some point and show you before and after of these plants. I'm going to go ahead and pot up the rest of these. But what I want you to know today, you out there watching this video, is that you have what you need. We must, though, prioritize what's important for us to sustain when help is not on the way. I am in such empathy for the individuals in the southeastern part of our country who has been impacted by this hurricane, or the western part of my state, should I say, that have been affected by this hurricane, who didn't have these resources in place, right? So before you wait for something devastating to happen to you, I encourage you first, hit the subscribe button, because I'm going to be coming to tell you about different things you need to have in your possession, or starting or doing, or if you have questions and want to learn, we can learn together, because I am always learning. I am not a know-it-all. My name is Dr. Eve. I am a community health and human service educator, but everything I'm doing literally is by trial and error, because remember, I tell you, there's one thing to have book sense. There's one thing to have knowledge. There's one thing to have understanding, but there's another thing to apply to have the wisdom to apply what you learned and have amazing outcomes. So again, I'm Dr. Eve. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and share the video, because we have to prepare for what is coming. We have to prepare for when there is no help on the way. Peace and blessings to you all. May you have the most amazing day. Whatever you do, plant, Go about and have the most amazing day and let no one get in the way on your journey to becoming who God has called you to become. He's speaking to most of us, and many of us are not listening. So if he's speaking to you about getting started, he's speaking to you about planting, he's speaking to you about going in the garden. He's speaking to you about learning how to raise some food. If he's speaking to you, whatever he's speaking to you about, get started. Do not let any grass grow under your feet for the things that God is calling you to do. Okay? Peace and blessings, y'all. Have a most amazing day. And until next time, grow food.